what's going on, everybody? Welcome to our first official news segment, where we're going to attempt to do the news in a podcast format. The idea with this is that most people just like listening to our stuff off on the side anyway. We noticed that with streaming, so we figured, hey, why not? Let's just try podcast format. We do have another format in mind for the news that I don't want to spoil, but Godfoot and I talked about it, and it sounded really, really, really funny. So we might be doing that in the future, but for right now, enjoy the gaming news and enjoy us just talking in your ear.
Let's get started.
All right, so first things first, AMD is coming out with the 6400 graphics cards. Godfoot.
Now, interesting about that is, so they already have the 6500 XTs. From what I understand, this is literally just like a chopped down version of that card. As exciting as that may sound, it hits the same way as like a 3080 Ti to a 3080, you know?
Yeah.
But you're going the other way around.
So they're basically releasing a budget gaming card for people that's lower than the 6500 and more affordable. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, but
can't really complain about it.
Only thing is, it does still have the same like general weaknesses that people didn't like off the 6500. Like, it still doesn't have an actual like proper media encoder nor
That's
a decoder,
fair, yeah.
right? So HTPC people just can't be bothered with it. And there's other problems like that, small ones, you know, but weird bottlenecks with PCIe x4 and whatnot.
Yep.
So that I am looking forward to the next set of generation AMD products where they hopefully address that, because right now I'm still just NVIDIA all the way.
Yep, same here. Never hurts to have cheaper cards and cheaper alternatives available, though, just because a lot of people during right now especially can't afford really, really fancy cards. And if they can get a big performance upgrade for pretty cheap, then, you know, no downside for doing it. All right. So the next thing we were going to talk about today is the Intel responding to the fact that their CPUs are bowing, like their containers are bowing, and the chips aren't getting all their connections.
And to me, the most comedic thing is, like, and this is also awesome part of the community, they're literally fixing the problem for them. They're 3D printing actual proper ILMs that will actually fit and they won't bow. But then Intel comes out and they're like, oh, hey, you know, this is, you know, we haven't really received any proper reports about this. However, we do recommend you don't do any modification to the socket because it'll still work totally fine. If you do, we probably going to void your warranty. So it's just
my favorite part is that they were denying this is happening for so long, and I think they still are denying it, right? And just for people denying it, just for people know, you know, the thing that locks the processors in where you push down the bar and it just clicks in. Well, they're getting so hot that it's warping the actual processors and the lock-in stuff, and it's causing them to like basically not have their pins make contact, which is ridiculous because it's creating higher temperatures. It's causing chips to fail. There's just a lot of issues with it. And Intel, basically, their response to this entire situation was to go, oh, la, 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 not happening, la, 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 la. And like Offwood said, yep, they're 3D printing new custom ILMs to fix the ones that suck. So good on the community. I hope they fix it. The problem with this is that if they admit that this is the case, then they have to replace all the ones that failed.
And they don't really want to
they don't want to do that. So
imagine you get the recalls in, you lose your processor for what, probably like a month.
Yep.
I mean, technically speaking, in the short term, this isn't really there isn't really a risk to the processor, but like long term, that's pretty bad. That's really gonna shorten the life of your CPU. So like, what's even the point of buying the new generation? I mean, you're just better off going back to the old
My
ones.
favorite
People are probably
part
gonna
is
do
that,
anyway.
Yeah, my favorite part is that there's so many tech industry companies like Tom's Hardware and a few other places basically like, yeah, this is actually happening. We saw this. Like, this is a thing that's occurring. And Intel's like, no, you're wrong. They're like, well, yeah, sure, you're accredited in a leading industry voice, but no, you're wrong. All right.
They're just saying it's only because of the mechanical load being put on between the CPU and the actual holding bracket with the socket. I mean, Come on.
No,
How is there no correlation between
they
that?
know. They just don't want to pay the money.
They're just saying it can happen from that. It could be a thing, but we're not saying it is. We haven't received any complaints about it. It's like,
all right,
man. Whatever.
On to the next. So we got PlayStation. They're coming out with a PlayStation Plus all in one with 700 plus games, and they're basically trying to compete with Xbox Game Pass, which is a hefty endeavor for them to embark upon, but it's better than nothing, right? Godfoot, what do you think about this?
Yeah, it's actually, I can appreciate this because we already had the free games from Plus and everything. We have the other benefits, but as far as I can tell, there are different tiers to this, right? And their naming is kind of funny. So you have PlayStation Plus Essential. So what does this do? This is literally PlayStation Plus as we know it. And there's no change in pricing. Then you have PlayStation Plus Extra, which gives you all the previous benefits.
I just want to say they really missed out on doing Plus Ultra.
I know, right? I was looking through these names, and there's no Plus Ultra. They could have put that in there. Why did they do it?
That would have been so good.
It actually would have been quality. But I mean, with this one, you get up to, quote unquote, 400 of PS4 and PS5 games.
That's pretty good.
Which is cool. I think that's cool. And the pricing is going to be $15 US monthly. You can also choose to pay quarterly, $40, or yearly, $100.
Yeah.
Then there's Plus Premium
with 2 stars. It's got asterisk. Yeah, there you go.
Must be an awful.
That's how you know how good it is. It's got double stars.
But with this one, which is only available in select regions, this will give you all the previous benefits, but then another 340 games, which is stuff from the PS3 generation.
Yeah.
With cloud streaming, by the way. So that's PlayStation Now. They basically combined the two things. I think PlayStation Now's dead. Like it's dead from now on. It's dead, yeah. So they combine it together. You also get some from the original PlayStation, the PS2, and the PSP, which that's definitely PlayStation Now.
The thing that's worth mentioning is the reason why this is such a big deal, and a lot of people don't know this, is that the PlayStation 3 architecture and the ability to port games from 3 to 4 and onwards is ludicrously complicated because it was different than the others. And so that's why you don't really have a lot of PS3 emulators and why it's such a pain in the ass to deal with. And so for them actually being able to offer PS2, PSP, and PS3 games via cloud, well, cloud streaming isn't really an emulation. They're doing the best they can. It's just because the PS3 is not built for backwards compatibility for going forward.
Exactly. And I mean the emulators available for on PC still run like garbage even on the best computers. That's just because it's
not that we've ever used totally emulators because they're illegal and we're very responsible here. But my thought on this is, we don't
condone any illegal action.
My thought on this is that I get what they're going for. With like $9.99 monthly and $14.99 monthly and $17.99 monthly. I get the tiers because for someone like me, I'm not gonna play 700 fucking games. Like it's just not gonna happen. I mean, it's nice to have them, but like I'm not gonna play them. And honestly, the only thing I'm interested in is the new blockbuster hits, like games that are coming out. Like say they make Bloodborne 2, which they never will because they don't love us. But they would just basically be like, hey, if you have a subscription, you get access to it. I would buy the one that gives me new games access because I think that's the most value. It's why I used like EA Play or whatever, because getting things like Battlefield for basically free and playing like a bunch of other stuff essentially was really nice. As far as it competing with Xbox Game Pass's value, I don't see it really adding up to that because Microsoft is literally burning money to get subscribers and get people locked into the ecosystem.
And this is on 2 platforms, not just one console. This is on Xbox consoles as well as PC.
Yep.
So, and whatever games you get, you can get on both of them and just mix them together, which is really cool. So
yeah, I mean, I love Game Pass.
Is losing money on this.
Yeah, and Microsoft's burning money.
I don't see the reason for getting the more expensive tier because I already have a PS3, a couple of them, and PS2 and a PS1. And like if I admittedly, yes, it'll save me the hassle of hooking them up and getting them to work and update them or whatever. Yes, but this is assuming you have a good internet connection, which for some people just isn't really a thing. So
what do they say about this? The new and extra premium tiers represent a major evolution for Premium Plus. With these tiers, our key focus is to ensure the hundreds of games we offer, blah blah blah, best quality content sets us apart. They're going to offer Death Stranding, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat, and Returnal. You know, honestly, not a bad lineup for starting. They need to include basically everything that they can. So yeah, I mean, it's a good start. I'm not gonna say it sucks. It's definitely a good start because I think people are getting really spoiled by Microsoft, and even if it does cost them money, they do have to clap back. The thing is like, I'm not a PlayStation or an Xbox fanboy. I just go based on like where the best games are right now, and anybody will admit straight up that PlayStation still puts out the best games. Like that's just what they're doing for exclusives.
There's no contention
but Xbox is definitely giving way more bang for your buck, and that's worth keeping in mind. Like Game Pass is fantastic. So all right, next topic.
Interesting too about that is, well, before we go any farther, something very interesting about that is I remember you could stream your PlayStation device to your PC as well, and that was also with PlayStation Now. I don't know exactly how they're going to implement that stuff and if that's still going to be a thing. I do sincerely appreciate that they still kept the original PlayStation Plus as it is and didn't touch the pricing or anything else. And I really appreciate there's that middle tier for modern games. And $5 more really isn't that bad. And you don't even have to cloud stream it. You just get the game and download it. So
that's pretty good. It's nice to have the game on the actual hard drive. For those of you that don't know, cloud streaming is essentially playing a game on another system over your internet connection. So if you don't have a good internet connection, good luck.
Good fucking luck.
But yeah, on to the next thing. So China is finally allowing the game industry to start moving after the 9-month hold. I'll just say this straight up. We don't like China. It's China's government, specifically China's government. So we may be a little biased towards, anything they do. Now, it's not China as a whole that's bad. It's just the government we have issues with. So,
plus, the government's putting in all these things where they have a whole bunch of new, like, very, very strict rules for games not even just for minors, but like the general populace. And they keep adding and taking away things so quick. It's especially in this last 9-month period. So now that's starting to kind of calm down. Game companies are starting to, refresh themselves and get started all over again.
I think it's crazy. That's 14,000. So they blocked new releases for 9 months. But 14,000 game companies shut down. That's wild, dude. That's a lot. That's insane. 14,000 companies closed. And that's unbelievable. Now I don't know the breakdown for the companies and anything like that. I assume a lot of it was mobile game design and things along those veins. China has a very different game ecosystem than the United States. There's a lot of games 100%. That are made in China just for China that never even leave that country. So that's worth keeping in mind. But yeah, China is for people that don't know, China is very controlling and restrictive on what is and isn't allowed to be published in their country, obviously, because they want to dictate the message that people get. There's also restrictions on things like bones and blood and gore and all this other stuff that games have to adhere to.
They also restrict how many games can actually come out because they have this system called game licenses. They give out around 1,200 game licenses a year. So that's not only just like AAA stuff. That's like indie stuff, mobile games, free-to-play games, everything. And because of that, it's the market's incredibly competitive.
Yep.
And that's why a bunch of these indie companies are dying out because they don't get these licenses because I don't know. I mean, I'm not a political leader, so I have no clue. But they're all being restricted pretty badly.
The other thing that I found a summary of the list too that they've restricted. They basically redid their restrictions, and some of the key points are they need to prevent minors from getting online addicted to games, implement rules aimed at boosting youth development. Companies were asked to fully and faithfully impose a time limit on underage gamers and banned from providing online account trading services for minors, so you can't trade stuff anymore. They were ordered to step up the examination of games content, including removing obscene and violent content, and to avoid money worship and effeminacy, which is a huge issue. Basically, this was an issue a couple months ago when this was initially talked about, is that they don't want any girly guys in their video games, which obviously doesn't fit very well with our current culture, and kind of a little bit despicable in my opinion, but hey, that's their country. They can do what they want. There's nothing we can do about it. And then they were also asked to end the solitary focus of pursuing profit or attracting fans and other erroneous tendencies, and change game rules and designs inducing addictions. So they essentially want people to stop like making gambling gotchas and crazy stuff like that. But it put everything on hold for 9 months. 14,000 game companies closed, which is insane. But they will be allowing game companies to apply for the right to sell games there again. And it should be all right. They should start seeing money going in again. I know a lot of the game companies in the US, like Blizzard, make a ton of money over in China. And so if they were working on any new projects, they were basically not allowed to put anything
tripled
there.
Their entire economy, yeah.
Yeah. If at least over there, yeah. If they had anything new. So all right, on to Sony and Lego investing $2 billion into Epic to help build their metaverse. I hate the phrase metaverse, Godfoot.
I don't even understand.
I think PC gamers
meaning
summary
of that in this.
We're not perfectly clear on what the metaverse is, but it sure attracts money. The thing is it's a buzzword. Yeah. It's just it has no real meaning. It's a buzzword. It's like the NFT. It's so like these board of directors, they hear things like NFT and know that one NFT sold for like 50 million or something. And they just hear NFT and they're like, yeah, NFTs. So I put NFTs in games. And then, they're like, oh, Metaverse. Oh, Metaverse is a lot of money right now. I want to make our games all have Metaverse. I'll get in that Metaverse right now. They don't know. Like, they have no fundamental understanding of what these things are, just like we don't. But they still just throw money at it because they just think it'll make money. So I don't get it.
I mean, literally, Sony went and invested $1 billion. This is after
$1 billion.
$250 million into Epic. I have no idea what they're planning, what they're going to try to do, but like that's a lot of funding. That's a lot.
And then another $1 billion was invested into Epic from the Lego parent company. Yeah,
which is interesting. Is there going to be some Lego project that Sony has a hand in? I don't know.
We are thrilled to invest in Epic to deepen our relationship in the metaverse field. What does that even mean, dude? What is your relationship in the metaverse field?
Share their time, apparently. This is such a vague description.
Yeah.
We're also confident that Epic's expertise, including their powerful game engine, I have to agree with that though.
Yeah, they do. They do. Unreal Engine is really good.
I give them huge props for that. It's fantastic.
Have you seen the latest Unreal Engine 5 stuff?
Yes.
It's so mind-blowing.
I think it's like out now.
Did you see that Cityscape Superman thing they did?
Yes,
I think ACG did a video on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that mod became so popular. People who made the mod are gonna be like, yeah, we're actually gonna try to make this.
Obviously, like we'll cut that footage in. You should be seeing it right now. If you're listening and you're actually looking, so you'll be seeing that cool flying stuff. But yeah, there's this mod they made, or like this standalone thing they made that's basically a cityscape where you get the physics and the super crazy graphics.
Same cityscape from that Matrix preview.
Yeah,
UE5. It's the exact same one. So
it's really
and
cool
that already
looking.
looked amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're investing in something that doesn't exist. I like the metaverse is not a thing right now. You could call it whatever you want. It's not. There is no metaverse.
It's a monetary partnership, I suppose, in this case.
When I think of stuff like metaverse games, okay, or metaverse in general, I think of like VR chat. That I consider a metaverse, right?
That's a metaverse.
Because you're interacting in different worlds in a virtual like situation, meeting new people, like going to places, buying things. Like that is a metaverse to me. For them to just like throw games on a platform and then track user stuff together, that doesn't really seem. I don't know. I don't think they even know what that word means.
It's funny because the exact definition of what a metaverse is, and I quote from the Oxford Dictionary, a virtual reality space in which users can interact with the computer-generated environment and other users.
Yeah.
So I don't see how this is a metaverse.
This investment will accelerate our work to build the metaverse and create spaces where players can have fun with friends, brands can build creative and immersive experiences, and creators can build a community and thrive. They're making the Steam store. They're just describing their Steam. It's not a metaverse. That's not at all what that is. But whatever, man. If rich people way beyond our like, you know, means of money want to throw money into a burning fire pit with a fake label on it, you know, kind of like Ghost Recon Breaking Point or whatever the hell it was, burning money on those NFTs. God bless those people that went and bought NFTs in that game, the 7 or so people that did, because they are just the pariahs of what not to do.
True.
They're going to be the example for generations on, oh, back in my day, NFTs were a scam.
We used to buy images.
Look, say what you want about NFTs. I don't care if you like them or don't like them. They're just dumb. But hey, we got something to actually say about that. Leading into the next discussion, Sega says the future of gaming includes NFTs and cloud streaming. Galfa, why don't you take this one? Here, explain what's going on with this.
All right, so basically, okay, so frankly, I love Sega. Mm-hmm. They make some of my favorite games of all time. And yet, they're expressing an interest in adding NFTs into their future games, all right? And this came from an interview with their executives and producers. Like, this is not just like a rumor. This is something they actually expressed genuine interest in. And it's that they're referring to it as a super game, which is the name of their initiative they're taking.
Yeah.
Which NFTs are going to be involved in. And according to their vice president, it doesn't just refer to one game. It's like a variety of games under the same NFT ecosystem.
Super games will be AAA titles that cross over Sega's comprehensive range of technologies and will be part of a bigger 5-year plan. So again, somebody at the board of directors or whatever for Sega understands that a couple of NFTs made money, and keep in mind Sega went into slot machines and a bunch of other crazy gambling things. Like, they've been slowly going into that market super hard with mobile games and stuff. So this is just like natural progression. But yeah, someone was like, NFTs made money, let's make our entire brand NFTs.
I mean, it's funny because it's like, as I quote, it is a natural extension for the future of gaming that will expand to involve new areas such as cloud gaming and NFTs. I seriously doubt that NFTs can improve the user experience of a game.
Once again, absolutely not. There's no way.
Like them all you want to, buy them all you want to, make them all you want to. I'm not going to say anything. I don't really care. But like, we already have microtransactions that are. I
think the best way to put it is that
super need NFT microtransactions. Imagine going to the
they'll have NFT and non-NFT.
Yeah, imagine going to the in-game store and just literally getting a microtransaction for an image that does not affect the game at all. Even if it does affect the game, that's kind of pay to win. In a way. And if everyone who buys these NFTs has them, it's already devalued. I don't know if it's gonna be the first person who sees it can buy it. Like I don't understand. Is there multiple versions? Whatever. I don't know how they can possibly.
I like the fact that they're calling these games with NFTs. They're going to be called super games, which means that they're not actually going to be super for the users. They're going to make no difference. They're calling them super games as a buzzword for the people that are investing and people on their board, because super games are going to make them so much fucking money. Is their arguments? They're super games because of how much money they make. And now on to more fun game news. Battlefield 2042's Steam player count has fallen below 1,000. Godfoot, just 6 months, the game's dead on Steam.
Frankly, I foresee this happening. I'm surprised it took this long, though. Honestly,
I pulled up the Steam charts, and yeah, current players. It's got 1,200 current players on PC, and this is prime time. And their average, it's losing about 4 to 5% of players. It's been dead for about a month now, but yeah, it's dropped below 1,000, and there's a lot of reasons for this. I think we all can agree that the game was half baked. It needed another 2 years of development. Needed another 2 years of development. It was unfun. It was uninspired. it was just not good, and it wasn't what we wanted, and honestly deserved. But the problem that I have with this, with these players being below 1,000, is that didn't they straight up blame Halo? They tried to blame Halo Infinite for killing Battlefield.
They try to point a finger at Halo, like, man, you releasing near the same time we did. Yeah, you're trying to kill us. And it's like, compete then. People who want to play arena shooters like Halo aren't necessarily going to crawl over to 2042 or vice versa, right? They're not going to cross over. Not all the time. I mean, they're two different games entirely. Yes, they're still first-person shooters, but what they're trying to achieve is just opposite ends of the spectrum.
They're just trying to not admit fault. And correct. Regardless of what they say, they screwed up. They made the mistakes. Their game was bad. It was awful. People didn't enjoy it. It was janky. It was buggy. It crashed. It had FPS issues. The game loop sucked. There were many connection problems. Progression was lackluster. The characters were lackluster. I mean, it's so bad that during that time that 2042 dropped below 1,000, Battlefield 5 had over 9,000 concurrent players.
Battlefield 5.
5 had 9 times the number of players at the time.
Which is, I mean, Battlefield 5 has been averaging like almost 12,000 players.
Yeah.
And it's to have something a 12th of the player base is just
it's just awful.
It's definitely a 12th of the game, by the way, too.
April 11th, there were just 979 DICE, the developers. My heart goes out to you specifically. I'm referring to DICE Corporate, not you. I know that you worked your butts off on this game. I know that the DICE developers did their best that they were allowed to within their time frame. And at the end of the day, they were forced to release something that wasn't finished, and they obviously probably feel wasn't finished, and they knew could have been so much better, because you could see the expectations and their hopes for this game, and just being forced to release it before it was ready, just bringing that all down. So, 100%. All right. And one final thing to talk about today, Watch Dogs is getting its own manga series. Godfoot, please take it away. I know you are a huge Watch Dogs fan, way more than me, and I know that you also love mangas and stuff more than I do, so I'll let you handle this one. Go for it.
Hot take, literally, I loved the hell out of Watch Dogs 1. I played that game so many times all the way through. It's just something that allured me to it. People are saying Aiden's a bad protagonist. I didn't find him to be necessarily that bad. I mean, was he boring? Yeah, I guess kinda. But like, his entire demeanor really fit into what the kind of the world Ubisoft was going for. And Legion was a little too how do I say it? The opposite of the dark, serious original Watch Dogs.
It was way too. It was campy. It was way too campy.
180 flip. Yeah. Yep. Whole 180 flip. And
it wasn't a bad game. Legion was okay, but it wasn't like what people were looking for.
Yeah, Legion was fine. But the thing is, I appreciate the flexibility of having NPCs be your, you can make them your player characters. That's cool and all, but it also takes away the in-depth character stuff that you had in 1 and 2. So Legion was cool. Frankly, people played Bloodlines, that one expansion where they brought back Aiden and Wrench and someone else, I forget.
But what's important, Godfoot, is that they're making a manga, and it's called Watch Dogs Tokyo, and they're going to be changing the location and culture compared to Chicago and London. I think it's cool that it's going to be in Tokyo. I hope to God we get a Watch Dogs game in Tokyo. I think that would be so cool. Sweet. That would be so good. Be honestly,
like coming off of Ghostwire Tokyo, just realizing just what a cool, diverse cityscape Tokyo has for games.
Oh, absolutely.
If you could actually take advantage of that and make a proper hacking game there, that would sell really well, I would think. Plus, it also appealed to a bunch of.
I'm still waiting for my Assassin's Creed fucking samurai game.
I know. Where is it?
That's what I'm waiting for, man.
Took that concept and made it amazing. But Ubisoft can still put some effort in and try. Like there's.
No. Let's not go on a tangent about Ubisoft. That's another video by itself.
That's fair. We'll spare
with Assassin's Creed, because the same company makes both of them, obviously, but that's like a whole nother rant for Assassin's Creed. But I think it's good. I think having a Watch Dogs Tokyo manga is good. I think if it does really well, it will definitely set up for a game. Chances are this is honestly leading into the next game. maybe this is like, because a lot of game companies like to do like prelude stuff.
And also like in between,
yeah, in between to like get people familiar with what they're going to be doing. So obviously there's a good chance that this could be like, hey, there's a manga coming out. There's Watch Dogs Tokyo, but it could just basically be, hey, this is what we're prepping you for our next game. I don't know. That's all wild speculation, but it makes sense because there's been a lot of stuff that a lot of other games and a lot of other DLC that's been foreshadowed by comics and announcements and mini trailers and things. So it's not wild to think that a manga would, be the precursor to the next game announcement. Because I mean, it's a good place to take it, right? Tokyo's always, and Japan's always seen as like this super techy, cyber oriented place, especially in like fantasy and future, ideas. So for them to take the next Watch Dogs to Tokyo makes a ludicrous amount of sense. You could even have like robots and mechs to hack and stuff like that. They could 100%. They could go like full Neo Tokyo on it and just do like 50 years in the future, 100 years in the future, and just go crazy with it. So,
and I also have high hopes for this too, because it's being drawn by I'm gonna butcher this name, but Kamo Suhei, who I know also drew Gangsta. Great manga, by the way.
Never read it.
You should definitely read it. It's really good. So and his art style is really cool, and you can tell from some of these images, it looks pretty well drawn. So
yeah, it does. It definitely looks good.
It'll be a nice experience.
I mean, it's going to be a good manga. I think mangas are a lot easier to control as far as quality of content goes than games. So
100%, and generally movies too.
But yeah, that's going to be it for the news. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We covered a lot of stuff this week. We'll be doing news more frequently, once a week, provided that this goes well. Again, forgive Godfoot. He's going to be editing it. He hasn't edited it in 2.5 years. I think he'll do a great job. Personally, I think it helps that he's also the one that did the research on these articles. So credit to him for that. He's the one that went and found these links and did the research into it, looked into these things. So yeah, if you like the news, do me a favor, hit like. Is that how YouTubers say it? They say hit like.
Smash that like button, friends. That
like button. No, just hit the like, spread the channel if you enjoy it, watch our other videos, and yeah, we'll be doing the news, I think, posting every Wednesday at 5 or 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, so like 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern will be the ideal posting time for our news. We'll let you know if we're not going to make it, but that'll be our goal, and we will be doing this every week going forward. So thank you for listening, and yeah, we love you all. Godfoot, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I really appreciate y'all watching or listening or doing whatever. I look forward to editing and making more of these news segments, so I appreciate your patience.
How do we do the outro?